In this section, you are going to study temperature, heat, and internal energy. First of all, what is temperature? In fact, temperature is a measure of the average 平均 average kinetic energy. Symbol is Ke. In Chinese, 动能. Okay, temperature is a measure of the average kinetic energy of the atoms in a body. In a solid, the atoms are closely packed, and the atoms cannot free to move. In fact, the atoms are vibrating. Okay, we say vibrating. So they carry kinetic energy. In a liquid, the atoms are further apart. And they are moving around. Inside the liquid. They are moving around. Okay, therefore they are moving around. They move around. Okay, they are more free to move. Therefore, they still possesses kinetic energy. Okay. For gas, the molecules are even further apart. Okay. In this case, the atoms are free to move. Okay. We say they are free to move. Okay. As a result, they also possesses kinetic energy. When the temperature of a substance increases, the atom in the solids vibrate more violently, and the liquid molecules will move at a greater speed. Okay, and the atoms in the gas will move faster, also with greater speed. Okay, hence, when the temperature increases, the kinetic energy of the atoms inside the substance must also increases. One important thing is that temperature is a measure of not the total kinetic energy, but it's a measure of the average kinetic energy of the atom in a body. That means even though the temperature is constant, not all the molecules or not all the atoms have the same kinetic energy. The kinetic energy of the atoms may differ a little bit. Okay? However, the average kinetic energy is a measure of the temperature of the substance. Then, what is the meaning of heat? Heat is a measure of the energy transfer from one object of higher temperature to another object of lower temperature. Consider two objects A and B. They are in contact, and if the temperature of A is TA and temperature of B is TB, if TA is larger than TB, then heat will flow from A to B. That means energy will transfer from A to B. Okay. In this case, A is losing energy, therefore its temperature will decrease. TA decreases. B will absorb energy, therefore its temperature TB will increases. Okay. And finally, when TA decrease to a value such that it is equal to temperature of B, TB. In this case, more energy will flow between the two bodies. Okay, in this case, we say thermal equilibrium is reached. Okay, thermal equilibrium. In Chinese, that means 熱平衡. Okay, when thermal equilibrium reached under the condition that the bodies have the same temperature, then no more heat flow will occur. Now let's look at another kind of energy. we call potential energy, 位能. Okay, what is meant by potential energy stored by a body? Solids, liquids, and gases are made up of atoms. Look at the diagram. There are some atoms here, okay? And let's imagine that atoms are connected by springs, okay? Atoms are connected by spring, 彈弓, okay? And you can imagine this is the fact, okay? Atoms are connected by spring, okay? When the spring are stretched means 拉長咗, okay? That means when the spring are stretched, they store energy, which we call this kind of energy. They store potential energy. The short form for potential energy is PE, okay? They store potential energy, okay? As you cannot see the atoms moving, okay? And you just see they are connected by the spring, therefore store the potential energy. We say potential energy. Sometimes we call this kind of energy is the hidden energy, 隱藏嘅能量, okay? Then let's see how does the potential energy of the atoms depends on states of matter. State means 物態. In a solid, the atoms are connected by spring, okay? But the separation between the atoms are small. Therefore, the spring does not stretch too much. In this case, the potential energy is very small, okay? And in the liquid state, the separation between the atoms increases. Therefore, the length of the stretched spring will be larger than that in solid state. In this case, the potential energy is larger, okay, than that in solid state. For gases, since the separation between the atoms are even larger, okay, therefore the springs are stretched the most. In this case, the potential energy stored is the largest, okay, compared with that of liquid state and solid state. From the above, when the liquid change state, when the solid change state to liquid, okay, when solid change state to liquid, okay, we call this melting, okay, when the solid melts, the potential energy increases, okay, increases. And when the liquid vaporizes to gas, when liquid vaporize, 氣化, okay, vaporize become gas, okay, the potential energy even larger, okay, therefore the potential energy also increases, okay. In this case, you will see that the potential energy, okay, of atom stored by atom, okay, increases when the substance changes state from solid to liquid and from liquid to gas. That means when the separation, okay, between atoms increases, the potential energy of atoms also increases. This is very, very important, okay? You have to memorize this one. The potential energy of atoms increases when separation between atoms increases. Next, you will learn what is internal energy. In fact, internal energy is the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. Internal energy, Chinese means 內能, okay? It is the sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy of the atoms, okay, of the atoms. Okay. In the following table, let's see the relation between temperature, state of matter, and kinetic energy of atoms, potential energy of atoms, internal energy of atoms. First, the kinetic energy of atoms is related to temperature, and the potential energy of atom is related to separation between atoms. Okay, this is the symbol for between. Okay, potential energy of atoms is related to separation of atoms. When there is a change in temperature, okay, when the temperature of a substance changes, the kinetic energy of the atoms also changes. Okay, if the temperature increases, then the kinetic energy of atoms will increases. However, if the temperature decreases, okay, the kinetic energy of atoms will also decreases. Next, the potential energy of atoms is related to separation of between the atoms, and this happens when the change of separations of between atoms happens when the state of matter changes. Okay, when it changes from solid to liquid, okay, the separation between the atoms will increases. In this case, the potential energy of atoms will also increases. However, if it changes from liquid state to solid state, in this case, the separation between the atoms will decreases. Also, the potential energy of atoms will decrease. When the substance changes from liquid state to gaseous state, the separation between atoms will also increases. Therefore, the potential energy of atoms will also increases. If in this case, if the gas changes state to liquid, okay, in this case, the separation between the atoms will also decreases. Okay, as a result, the potential energy of atom will also decreases. Internal energy of atoms is a sum of kinetic energy and potential energy of atoms. Okay, therefore, when the temperature increases, the kinetic energy of the atoms will also increases. Okay, hence the internal energy of atoms will also increases. Okay, when the substance changes from solid state to liquid state, the separation between the atoms will increases. Therefore, the internal energy of atoms will also increases. Okay, and as a result, internal energy of atoms is affected by both the temperature and the state of matters. Whenever there is change in temperature and whenever there is a change of state of matter, the kinetic energy or the potential energy will changes. Therefore, the internal energy of atoms will also changes. Let's see what is the meaning of law of conservation of energy, 能量守恒定律. Law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created 製造 nor destroyed 毀滅. But energy can be transformed 轉換 from one form to another form. 能量可以由一種嘅能量轉到另外一種能量。能量唔可以係被製造出嚟，亦都唔可以被破壞。